They just want to know, how do I live the way God wants me to live? They need relevance. And so perhaps this trade that Paul had was to keep him relevant. And also, Paul did not want to be a burden on anyone. And so he had this trade. They were tent makers. Verse 4, and he was reasoning in the synagogue every Sabbath and trying to persuade Jews and Greeks. As was Paul's custom, everywhere that he went to the synagogue. But he is not in the synagogue every day at this point. Paul is basically an itinerant minister. He is a bivocational minister at this point in his life. And he is only going to the synagogue on every Sabbath day. Not every day, because he has a job. Let me just say this. If the Lord affords someone to work and gain their living by the ministry, there is nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with working. In fact, many times God gives you a job so that you can minister to the people that you would never get an opportunity to minister to working in a church. Do you understand that? You know, a lot of young people, college kids, and they want to go into full-time ministry. Maybe full-time ministry for you is getting a job, going to work every day and living out your faith in the company of those people that you work with. Amen? That's what ministry can be. Listen, everybody can't work in ministry full-time. And at this time in Paul's life, he wasn't a full-time minister. He was only going to the synagogue on the Sabbath day. And so we see here in the second, the feeling of rejection. But when it says Silas and Timothy came down from Macedonia, Paul began devoting himself completely to the word. Now he's full-time, solemnly testifying to the Jews that Jesus was the Christ. But when they resisted and blasphemed, he shook out his garment and said to them, your blood be on you, on your own heads. I am clean. From now on, I will go to the Gentiles. Now, if you go back to chapter 9, when Paul was called into the ministry, he was called and encounters Christ, and God tells him, you're going to suffer many things for my sake. Paul probably heard those words, but Paul probably didn't understand at that time what it really meant to suffer for Christ. And so Paul is now at the end of his road, and Paul shared his love for his fellow kinsmen, his brethren, the Jews, and that's why when Paul went to different places, he always went to the Jews first. Why? Because he loved the Jews. They were his people. He loved them. In fact, he said that he would have died for his kinsmen. But they are rejecting him. Anybody know what it feels like to feel rejected? Rejection is not good, especially when you are trying to offer yourself for the benefit of someone else. And this is where Paul is. He says, but they resisted and blasphemed. He's in the synagogue and he's reasoning with them, with the scriptures, and he's trying to convince them that Jesus is the Christ. But they resisted him and blasphemed. And so it says he shook out his garments and said to them, your blood be on your own heads. Trying to convince y'all who Christ is. You know the scriptures, and yet you refuse to respond to the scriptures. I'm tired of this. Your blood is on your own heads. I'm clean. From now on, I will go to the Gentiles. You'll turn back quickly to Ezekiel chapter 33. Verses 7 through 9. Ezekiel chapter 33, verse 7 through 9. Paul is identifying as a watchman on the wall. Now, he Ezekiel, he says this, "Now as for you, son of man, I have appointed you a watchman for the house of Israel. So you will hear a message from my mouth and give them warning from me." So God is saying to Ezekiel, listen, you are my mouthpiece. I'm going to give you a message, and you give the message to the people. Now watch this. Look how serious this is. He says, "When I say to the wicked, O wicked man, you will surely die, and you do not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require of your hand." You get that? When God tells you to say something to somebody, listen, you got to get out of your feelings and stop thinking about how they're going to respond. You need to just tell them what God has told you to say. And this, in verse 9, it says, "But on the other hand, if you on your part warn the wicked man to turn from his wicked way, and he does not turn from his way, he will die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your life." Notice that it's the same thing. You cannot tell them and they die, and you can tell them and they die. But the difference is their blood is on your hands if he tells you to tell them and you choose not to tell them. Now we're living in a time, I hope you understand, where people don't want to be offensive. Where you can be living in sin, or you can know someone is living in sin, but you don't want to say anything because you don't want to appear offensive or judgmental. Be careful, watchmen. Be careful, because their blood can be on your hands. Now if you tell them in love what thus saith the Lord, it is no longer, their blood is no longer on your hands. So in verses 1 through 6, we see Paul's feeling of rejection. And then in verse 7 and 8, we see the joy of reception. Verse 7, it says, "Then he left there and went to the house of a man named Titus Justus, a worshiper of God." Now he's leaving the synagogue. He's frustrated because they're not responsive. He says, "Listen, your blood is on your own hands. I'm clean from you." He shakes his garment out as to say, the dust of this, I am no longer responsible for the blood that is on your head. And so he leaves there in verse 7, and he went to the house of a man named Titus Justus, a worshiper of God. He's going to get a warm reception here. He says, whose house was next to the synagogue. I just find that a little bit funny. He leaves the synagogue. I'm done with y'all. Go right next door. I don't know if he was really done with it. Maybe God just so happened to have a believer there, a worshiper right next door, where he can be in close proximity. Because how many of you ever been to a place where you said, I'm done with him? I'm not going to try to help him no more. But as soon as something comes up, you find yourself trying to help him. Why? Because you love him. That's what love demands. So it says he goes to the house next door to the synagogue. Crispus, the leader of the synagogue, believed in the Lord with all his household, and many of the Corinthians, when they heard, were believing and being baptized. That's encouraging. He goes to his people, they reject him. He goes right next door and finds that there's someone there who is receptive to the word of God. And it says that many of them were believing and were being baptized. That's the joy of reception. Verses 9 through 11, we see the comfort of reassurance. Now I want you to pay very careful attention to these next two verses. He says, and the Lord said to Paul in the night, in the night by a vision, do not be afraid any longer, but go on speaking, and do not be silent, for I am with you, and no man will attack you in order to harm you, for I have many people in this city. And he settled there 1 year and 6 months, teaching the word of God among them. Now let's look at this a little bit closely. And the Lord God said to Paul in the night by vision, do not be afraid. Now, why would God tell Paul to not be afraid? Obviously, Paul he was afraid. What was he afraid for? His life. Everywhere he went, he was beaten and he was persecuted. Paul, when you're beat down by life, sometimes fear comes in. And it's good news to know that God reassures you that I am going to be there. It says, and the Lord says to Paul in the night vision, do not be afraid any longer, but go on speaking, and do not be silent, because the tendency when pressure comes is for you to just keep your mouth closed, to not rock the boat, to not say anything. He says, go on speaking, and do not be silent. Why? Verse 10, for I am with you, and no man will attack you in order to harm you, for I have many people in this city. And so Paul gets this reassurance from God. Isn't it wonderful that when you are down in the dumps, God always sends some type of reassurance that I am going to be with you. In fact, he says, I will never leave you or forsake you. Listen, I don't care what you're going through. You need to understand this morning that sometimes life stinks. I agree. Yes, it stinks sometimes, but God is with you. He will never leave you, and he will never forsake you. Sometimes you get so low that you don't even want to go on any longer. Listen, you got to understand, you got to press on, because God is with you. He will not leave you. In fact, you think that you got to where you are right now by your own strength. That was God and his grace carrying you through the difficult times. He says, I'll go with you even through the valley of the shadow of death. I am with you. My rod and my staff, they comfort me. Listen, you got to know that you can't go anywhere where God doesn't have your back. And we're living in those times when we need to have this word in our hearts that God is with me. I know I'm not feeling good about this. I know my circumstances are not favorable. My marriage may not be like it should be. I've got sick folk. I've got all of this chaos going on in my life. My money is funny. Everything is going on. It seems like everything is blowing up in my life. But you have the assurance of knowing that God says, I will be with you. He will never leave you. He will never leave you. Even when you're feeling alone, you got to know that God is right there with you. Be still and know that he is God. Sometimes persecution and life's affairs squeezes you so tight, but you can be, like Paul said, persecuted but not destroyed. Cast down but not forsaken. He will always honor his word. He said, I am with you, and no man will attack you in order to harm you, for I have many people in this city. Listen, and I know you think you're alone, but I got a few folk out there that's got your back. And it says, and he settled there in Corinth for a year and 6 months, teaching the word of God among them. So Paul said, I'm going to just chill out right here and just get some encouragement here in Corinth. So he stayed right there. You see the feeling of rejection